Hi, my name is Lila Balliett, and I live just outside of Binghamton, New York. I have been a songwriter for about 20 years. I am not a professional by any means. No albums, I don't do a lot of live shows. I've done a few, but not too many. I am very much a hobby singer-songwriter. I really do it for myself, as an outlet for what I'm feeling and as a way for me to sort of just connect with things that I'm going through in my life. So most of the songs that I write, I just record them and I put them up on social media just sort of for fun. But I don't really try to do anything professionally with it. So I started writing music, like I said, about 20 years ago. I had always really enjoyed writing poetry and writing short stories. But the fact is that people don't really read poems very often. So I know that some people do, but it's not as common as listening to music. So everybody listens to music. Not a lot of people read poetry. So for me, as a person who loved writing poetry and also as a person who always really loved singing, it was natural that I would start trying to combine my singing and my poetry. So that's what I did in college. I got my first guitar. I learned a few songs, cover songs, just to sort of warm myself up on the instrument. And then I started writing my own music. So some of the influences for me when I was that age were artists like Fiona Apple, who had some big hits in the 90s. But if you listen to her albums in full, even now, if I listen to her albums that she wrote at that time when she was very, very young, they are just absolutely brilliant. Her songwriting is incredible, and she's just a huge inspiration. She has a style that I really appreciate because she's very lyrics driven. So the lyrics to her songs, you can really feel sort of how she feels, and she's very good at emoting. And so she was really, really a strong influence along with a band, Mazzy Star. So I did a lot of Mazzy Star covers when I was in college, and that was, again, just a way for me to sort of, learn some of the chords and get more confident so that I could write my own songs. So the way I've always written songs, including the one that I'm going to play today, is I always write the lyrics first. So I know a lot of musicians who they write the music first and then they add some lyrics in afterward. But since I am first and foremost a writer of words and a singer, and not so much a guitar player by any means, I always write the lyrics first. So when I'm struck by something, if something is hitting me across the face with inspiration, it typically comes as a phrase. So there's usually something that pops into my head that's just one phrase, a few words, a sentence, and that is what I build the song around. So now I take out my phone and I open up my notebook, and that's where I write everything. But I have notebooks filled from when I was younger, paper and pen, and that's how I always did it. So I'll pull something out and I'll write down all the lyrics to what is essentially a poem. And that process doesn't take me very long. So I don't write often. I probably only write 1 to 2 songs per year. But when I do, it happens very quickly. So I will write the lyrics down or the poem down. It takes me about maybe 10 minutes, I would say, to typically get those thoughts down. And then I'll immediately pick up the guitar. And when I pick up the guitar, I try to add in some music around the lyrics. Usually the lyrics kind of fit in, you can make them fit. Sometimes you have to change a few words here and there. And then once I've got the music added to the lyrics, then I will immediately pull out my phone or my laptop and I'll record the song as soon as it's written. So that whole process of writing the lyrics, writing the music around the lyrics, and recording the song somehow on a video, I usually do that within a 2-hour period when I write a song. And then I put that right out to the universe. I'll either send it to, friends or family, or I'll put it on social media or something just to sort of release it out before I start thinking too much about it. Because if I start thinking about it, I'm going to start picking it apart. I'm going to start second guessing myself and questioning what I was doing. And that is not where I want to be as an artist. So I'm not a musician who practices the song over and over and over until it's perfect before anyone can hear it. I would much rather have it just be raw and as real and fresh as possible when people hear it. So that's not for everybody. That's not everyone's style. I know a lot of musicians. I have a lot of friends who are musicians who, that would not be comfortable for them. And they might feel uncomfortable with that sort of imperfection. But for me, I'm very uncomfortable with the opposite. So I am not a person who can, like I said, do 100 takes until it's perfect. Because for me, that would make me really doubt myself. So most people I know, we have these doubts in ourselves and we question what we're doing and if it's good enough. And if I do that, that's just going to be a cycle. So with art, for me, it just has to be raw and immediate and out there. So some of the recording, I just want to talk really quickly, and then I'm going to play the song really quickly about recording styles. So a lot of artists, that we listen to on the radio or on streaming apps, they are in a big recording studio. They have very expensive equipment. They do many, many takes. And that's great, and it makes for beautiful music to listen to. But I'm also a fan of what's called lo-fi recording. So some bands have done very lo-fi recording. And what that means is that they're not using expensive equipment. They're maybe not in a studio. They might be just in an apartment living room. They might not edit out any sort of background noise. So you might hear a faint ambulance going by in the background, or you might hear a dog bark one time sort of, in the distance. So nothing that's going to really take away from the song, but they're not editing those pieces out. They might sing and their voice cracks on a high note, but not enough, again, to ruin the song, maybe just enough to keep it what I would consider to be raw and real. So an album that you might want to listen to that sort of has these elements would be, Nick Drake's Pink Moon, which is, of course, a very famous album. He recorded that just in 2 nights, pretty quick. So just a guitar and himself and not a ton of editing. So that's the type of style that I really appreciate. So the song that I'm going to do today is called The Way Out. And this is a song I wrote about 5 years ago. And like most songs, it is a love song. So there are artists and musicians I know who can write songs about the mundane, and I am very jealous of them. I would love to be able to write a song that is powerful about, walking my dog or or just spending a day by myself, But I don't have that ability at this point in my life. So I always write songs about things that are really, really powerful for me in my life. So I wrote this song about someone I had met who was going through a very difficult time in his life. He was going through the loss of someone he loved. He was also going through the dissolution of a marriage. I believe he was very unhappy with his current life situation, where he lived and his career and things like that. And so when he was going through all of these things, that's when I sort of entered into his life. And when I met him, everything became very, came to it was extreme. The colors and sounds and tastes and everything for me was just heightened all of a sudden. And I was shocked into inspiration. So I wrote a bunch of songs all at once after we had met. And this is one of them. So this song is about just sort of meeting somebody at that stage in their life where they're very unavailable, but nevertheless loving them and hoping that will change. So this song is called The Way Out. I've got these stacks of sadness building, and I can't find where they begin. But I would sell my soul to the devil just to lie with you again. I saw you coming down the line. I threw my body on the tracks, and I smiled as 1,000 tons crushed down upon my back. But I don't know the way out of here. And if I find dear, would you follow me? I've waited all my life to get here, and it's the one place you can't stand to be. On the lonely road to your house, a fox escaping with its kill. Your heart was breaking at the dying of the life you thought you'd build. And I would hold the feathers close to me so you could swing the blade. And I would bury you inside my soul, my skin absorbing all your pain. But I don't know the way out of here, and if I find it, will you follow me? I've waited all my life to get here, and it's the one place you can't bear to be. I've got these stacks of sadness building, and I can't find where they begin. But I would sell my soul to the devil just to lie with you again. Oh, 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 oh. All right. So thank you very much for listening. Again, my name is Lila Balliett. And please, if you haven't yet, go ahead and follow the Songbird Showcase. Tim Winchester has created this as a way for people to learn about other songwriters and their process. So I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Tim, for asking me to be a part of this. And cheers. Thank everybody for listening.